This video is sponsored by Bityard. With over 400 cryptocurrencies to choose from on their spot exchange, dozens of USDT pairs for futures trading, perpetual coin futures, trade commodities like gold, silver and oil, Forex, and major indices like Nasdaq. You can buy crypto from Bityard with over 50 different fiat currencies using Visa, MasterCard, Google or Apple Pay. If you like, you can use their copy trade facility, follow other traders who will execute trades on your behalf, or become a copy trader yourself. So if you want a bit of that, click the link in the description. Hello everybody, welcome back. So we're going to have a look at exchange tokens, right? And there's no such thing as a safe bet with crypto. In fact, that's the last thing that you'd want to call altcoins in any respect is a safe bet. Not to say that they don't have good projected outcomes, but they're volatile as hell, and we all know that. But these exchange tokens are showing really good resilience in the market. Some more resilience than others, and some show better upsides than others. And actually, some of these have got some of the better setups in all of crypto at the moment. So we're just going to run through these ones at the moment. Now, I know there's loads of other exchange tokens, and there's all the ones on decentralized exchanges, you know, like Sushi and all these other things. We can look at those on another video. But for this is the centralized exchange native tokens, and we're going to look at their charts and we'll put it into perspective. So we'll start with FTX, and we'll start by looking at the daily, and we'll move on. So FTX is actually one of the best, if not the best setup so far of all of these. Yeah, when it comes on a TA basis, we've got a conversion baseline cross above the cloud. In fact, we've got all three components for a continuation of a trend followed by a golden cross, suggesting that the trend has already begun on this one, and actually this one is likely to start to creep up quite well and quite nicely, quite consistently already. Now, because the market is very vulnerable to Bitcoin's pullback, we're not under any illusion that Bitcoin can't spoil this in the short term. So buying here, you could sustain a move back down to the golden cross, to that 200 exponential, and that's something that we often anticipate anyway after a golden cross. And if that was the case, you bought here today, you'd be looking for a pullback of maybe 12%. Absolutely, perfectly reasonable to assume that, given that Bitcoin is leading the market. But this one has a strong setup already, and with that kind of setup, it would take one hell of a nuke to break this entire chart down, and that nuke would be given to us by Bitcoin. So it wouldn't be something you'd look at this token and this chart and go, this is going to lead to a failed breakout. This has got two of the major components to an actual uptrend beginning and continuing. But yeah, at this very second in time, yeah, I can understand wanting to hold off, but I really like it, and it's a really good setup. Let's just take it to a weekly and see where we are on the weekly. Pretty epic stuff. So we've already had a decent move already from last week, and a continuation up to the top of the Bollinger Band. That suggests that it has reached a peak in the very short term, and a bit of a pullback is required, but we're above all major moving averages on the weekly. This is something that most cryptos don't have right now. In fact, you don't have this kind of read on hardly any cryptos. There's a handful that I've seen, and we do the live streams twice a week, and it's not many of them that have this kind of vibe going on the weekly. So this does look really strong on both the daily and on the weekly, although it being maybe at a temporary peak right now. I think the likelihood is it probably will continue and go on to make new highs on this one. So again, there's no such thing as a safe bet. We're talking cryptocurrency here, but I like what I see on the daily and the weekly, and they're the main things that I'd look at. So looking for a bit of a pullback on that one, most likely determined by Bitcoin, and then I'd say it would be a buy the dip. Not a financial advisor, not a financial advice. So that's FTT, and again, I don't actually own any, and I don't have a FTX account either, but I can't deny the way that this chart looks. Breakout into accumulation, two signals here suggesting continuation of an uptrend, probably going on to a new all-time high before many other things. It's a really good setup there. So we'll get rid of that one for now, so thank you for that. That's very nice. I'll see you later. Binance Coin. So Binance Coin is slightly different. We're like many other altcoins in its setup on the daily, no particular buy signals, just reclaimed its 200 exponential. And if we go to the weekly, what we see is rejection below the 20 weekly. So not in any way the best setup in the world, but when it comes to resilience, we still have that. We've effectively had a double top, we've got higher lows, and based on a weekly, you know, it's not in bullish control zone at the moment, it's not in bullish territory on its Bollinger Band status, but with the overall vibe going on with the market, in my opinion, which is that likely to continue up throughout this year for the most part, Binance Coin, you know, is going to do that as well. It's interesting to recognize that the consolidation from the top to the bottom was just a little bit less than Bitcoin. So resilience to the max. You know, you've got to give it credit for that. Normally altcoins doesn't matter who you are, will emphasize Bitcoin's move, whereas Binance Coin actually did okay for itself, and yeah, it did consolidate, but it held up way better than most other altcoins. And we're talking about returns on this one. This is what is it, a top 3 or a top 5 altcoin now when it comes to market cap. I think the majority of its moves have been done, but that doesn't mean it can't go on to make new all-time highs. You know, we're talking, you know, maybe moving up to 1,000. I can't give you a target on this one. It's going to move when it moves. A lot of this move was determined by when it launched Binance Smart Chain and the success of that, and the lockup as well, and the consistent burns that they do. So there's a fundamental reason to have it. Plus, you know, Binance is the best exchange by far, despite what people might think about, you know, them towing the line with regulation. It's the best exchange. You got the liquidity, you got the choice. It's all there. They are the best. And look at the volume on this one. Enormous volume. Way more than all these others by far. You know, way more. And obviously the market cap being way higher, suggesting that, yeah, it will likely go up. The majority of the euphoria stage of this is finished, but you know, that doesn't mean that it can't make higher highs, and it probably will. But if you're looking for the biggest gains, this wouldn't be the one. I'll probably say this is the least likely to make the biggest gains out of all of them. But you should always have some Binance coin, especially if you trade on Binance, because they give you a 25, or I might have moved it down to a 20, but it was at one point, if not, or still 25% reduction on your trading fee. So always have Binance coin. They're the biggest exchange. If everybody has that, there's more reason to keep it. Plus you've got your Binance Smart Chain stuff as well, and your lockups and your burns. So fundamentally there's a reason why it mooned so hard, then there's a reason it will continue to go up. There's all the fundamentals behind it. But yeah, at the moment, yes, it's not as good as FTT's chart, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing to hold. To be honest, I think it's a rite of passage. Everybody needs to have some Binance coin, if anything, just for its use case on trading with Binance. So again, another strong chart, a really good looking chart. This didn't dump that down into its shadow. Crypto.com. Right, so this one again, big ups, big downs, big ups to big downs, big ups. Matt Damon, big downs, and it looks like we're in a period of accumulation. Again, if we recognise on the weekly, we're below the centre of this Bollinger Band, so not in bullish control zone at the moment, but we are turning up just like all the others, and it's very much following the market. Now, if you think about the use case for this, everybody wants those cards, don't they? Everybody wants a Crypto.com card. They're cool, they're metal, and you get Spotify and, what is it, Netflix for free. All you need to do is buy tons of Crow and stake them, which from what I understand is, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world to buy and stake. And the projected outcome on this one seems pretty clear to me. Like, we're in an accumulation at the moment, albeit at the top of the accumulation zone, but it does appear that this will go consistently up and up and up. Now, I couldn't tell you where the targets are, but what I can tell you is that there is rhythm to this. Big up, big down, big up, big down, big up, big down, big up. We're most likely going to go onto a new all-time high, and there's many reasons to suggest that this is just another down before the next big up. But all based on the weekly, not particularly fond of exactly this very moment in time. You'd be buying the top of an accumulation zone, but remember, accumulation zones are zones. You know, this entire area is a buy zone, because your target generally was going to be a new all-time high and beyond. So in retrospect, in a year from now, if the market performs the way I think it's going to do, which is effectively continuing with its bull market, you'll look back and go, I wish I'd bought the accumulation. I was beating around the bush thinking, where should I buy this? And I refused to buy it at the top of the accumulation zone. I wanted to buy it at the bottom of the accumulation zone. And then, you know, whether you're $1, $2, $5, $10 down the line, you're like, it was completely irrelevant, wasn't it? That's what accumulations are. They're zones. And when it comes to a zone, you know, this is actually relatively small in comparison to you know, other accumulations in crypto. In fact, even Bitcoin has accumulated not that long ago in a 70% range, and obviously been quite good. This one's a 37% range, which is pretty small for an accumulation period. So again, the reason it looks accumulation to me is because the Golden Cross took place down here, big move up, big move down, and effectively above all major moving averages, never had a death cross, so effectively never went completely bearish. It just basically had a bubble pop. And that's pretty easy to determine when you look at it over here on the weekly, on the daily, sorry. Bubble pops often occur around 95 on the money flow index, and you want to get out, but especially if you start to see massively overheated reads like that on the weekly. We've had 100 on the money flow index before, and the last bubble pop was 97. So you know, obviously if you wanted to get out of something like this when you're in it and we're having one of these parabolic moves up, That's what I would look at. It's the same as any coin, especially on the weekly. If you're edging towards 90, above 92 to 95, you'd want to think about taking at least a decent portion of that profit out, really, because well, the inevitable pop is likely to occur. But for the moment, we're far from a pop. In fact, it looks like an accumulation for what would be a continuous upwards trend with big ups and big downs. So again, another exchange token which seems pretty consistent in the way that it's moved throughout its chart history, and I believe it to continue. Now let's have a look at this bad boy. So this is your KuCoin, KCS, right? A lot of people moved on to KuCoin because they fell out of love with come on, bring me the chart, mate. I have to refresh this thing. They fell out of love with Binance because they welcome regulation. They want everybody to have KYC, and I think that's good. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people like to not have KYC, and I kind of understand. But at the same time, if you take crypto seriously, you want to have exchanges that are regulated, that are towing the line, so your funds, aren't effectively at risk of a cowboy exchange. KYC is something that is going to come to all exchanges, in my opinion, and should go to all exchanges. It's not a problem. I don't see that. I really don't understand the problem about doing that. But some people don't like it, so they moved on to this, and lo and behold, I think they're doing KYC now. So because they want to stand the test of time, welcoming regulation is one thing, but during that period, a lot of people moved on to this, and it's actually their volume started to creep up quite significantly on KuCoin as a result of taking some of those customers away from Binance. And one thing that benefited from all of that, the KuCoin token. And look, as far as this one's concerned, you don't need me to tell you that this is bullish, right? A golden cross all the way back down here in the first week or two, really, of the alt season. Big parabolic run, big dump down, 200 simple. Big move up, big move down, well, below the 200 simple. And look, you honestly don't need me to tell you what we're looking at here is a consistent uptrend, which looks pretty awesome to me. Similar to FTT, we've got a buy and hold for a continuation of a trend signal formed with this conversion baseline cross and all the other components of the Ichimoku cloud, and we never got a death cross. So effectively, this has been bullish since January 2021, and it has. You can see that you've got higher highs, higher lows throughout. Let's check the weekly on this one as well. And what we'll see is, unlike something like Binance Coin and Crypto.com, the Crow, where we're both below the center of that Bollinger Band, the 20 weekly, if we can just load this thing up, please, today, we can see that we've just recently, and we look like we might want to close a second week in a row above the 20 weekly. So it's still early days when it comes to this chart here, but it's looking pretty good. And it might take a few weeks or so, but if we get across from this blue to this red at this stage here with the Chiku span, above the price action, you would get a continuation of the trend formed on the weekly. So again, another reason for it to go from strength to strength. Daily looks good. Weekly is brewing a really good signal, plus it's obviously higher highs, higher lows the entire time. We obviously look at the bubble pop territory. We had a 96, we had a 98, we had a 94, and a 90, almost a 95. They all more or less correspond to their peaks and their peak. This one didn't do it, but bearish divergence throughout. Either way, we're in a safe enough period to think about entertaining the idea, the very realistic idea, that this is going to go from strength to strength, especially with KuCoin being more popular now than it ever was, and probably going to continue with that momentum about people moving on to their exchange. Now finally, let's have a look at Gate.io. So the only coin that's not trading on Binance at the moment, but again, just like all the other exchange tokens, there's something going on here, isn't there? Consistency, resilience, and continuous uptrend on a weekly. And again, like FTT and the KuCoins one, this is the second best one actually when it comes to the weekly position. We're heading towards the top of this Bollinger Band, suggesting that after this last move here, we had a gentle consolidation, and it looks like it's breaking out. We're reaching a temporary peak, I would imagine, but this is probably going to go from strength to strength again. Now this one is probably going to be the one that offers the most back because it's smaller than all the others. Its trading volume is limited just to Gate.io. Maybe it will cross over to the other exchanges, maybe it won't. I don't know about the relationship or the golden handshakes that these other companies do with each other, but it's only available on Gate.io. So if you want to pick it up, there's a link in the description below, and you'll get 20% off all your trading fees for life by using that link. But it's the only place you can buy it so far, from my understanding, and that's probably one of the reasons why I'm expecting it to do the biggest moves, because its market cap and it's smaller than the others. Its 24-hour trading value is smaller than the others, which offers bigger green candles when the money finally flows into it. And if there's one thing that we can take away from all of these charts, is that they're consistent in their uptrend. They have resilience throughout, and they are continuing with those uptrends already. This goes hand in hand with the idea that crypto is going to get more popular over time. We all know that the retailers generally end up in crypto towards the end of at least a toppy kind of vibe. We all know that. And so the idea is that you get into these before the retailers come back. Now, you and me, we're all retailers, but we're the smart ones. We're the ones that follow the market every day, whether it goes up or goes down, and tries to make a decision about what it is that we want to buy and why. And the retailers, you know, I don't want to slag anyone off, because we want people to make money. We all want people to join in these exchanges and make some decent money. But the ones who, you know, enter at the end are the ones that basically end up losing. But they will need to enter into exchanges prior to doing all of that, and these are probably why these are all going from strength to strength, because regardless of bull market or bear market, crypto is going from strength to strength. Exchanges are getting more customers and more accounts every single day, and there is incentive on each one of these to own it. So I actually, when it comes to gains, this one is probably my favorite, for all the reasons that I would normally say about anything that's considered a shit coin, which is usually low market cap, low volume. Now, this isn't a nothing coin, like it's going to be okay, but it's the smallest of the lot, which usually offers more back in the long run. They've got other things going on with Gate.io. They've got their own chain. I don't know what it does. You know, it surprises me at how I say unpopular. They're the smallest of the 5 exchanges that I've mentioned so far, but I don't have crypto.com and I don't have an FTX, so I do have Gate.io, because there's opportunities in there that you won't find anywhere else. But the volume and liquidity is what, you know, is obviously what spoils it for Gate.io. It's a lot less than others, and some coins trade so low that they're almost untradeable unless you're looking to do small trades with like hundreds and, you know, $100 or so, which is fine, completely fine, and you can get some really good moves on those things as well. So it suits a lot of people for small trading, small amounts. But for large amounts of cash, you know, several, you know, tens of thousands, the opportunities are a little bit limited. But when it comes to this one, we do have a decent 24-hour trading volume. We've got a decent uptrend as well, consistent like all the others. And so if there's one thing to take away from this entire batch of charts and videos, is that exchange tokens have a good projected outcome, in my opinion. Whether we're in a bull market or a bear market, it doesn't particularly really matter. Their resilience is what's to be noted, and their consistency as well. So whether you're looking for massive gains or just consistent gains, I think each one of these have got that. The biggest gains obviously are going to be outside of these charts. You know, going to be other small cap coins, small cap tokens. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that exchange tokens seem to have the best setups and the best charts already at this stage in the market. Whether we're going into a big bull market or big breakout or whatever, doesn't really matter. You don't need me to tell you what this looks like, and it looks good. We've got signals to back them up as well. So my favorite for gains would be Gate.io's token, but KuCoin and FTX as well. They've got really good setups. Smaller but still consistent would be Binance Coin and KuCoin, but all 5 of them certainly look like things that you should own and keep and hold. You might not be the millionaire starter kits, but I'd be very surprised if they didn't go on to make consistent higher highs and higher lows throughout the rest of this year and beyond. Right, I'm going to leave it with you there. Hopefully that was interesting for you. Otherwise, please let me know in the description below. And yeah, hope you have a nice weekend. Take it easy.